Warrior, if you think a woman shares her problems with you just to vent, I've got news that might not sit well with you. It's not a mere coincidence or a simple release of emotions. It's a test. But Dante Panikit, docent T means she's keeping a scorecard like failed phase 1. It's instinctive on her part. She wants to uncover what kind of man you really are. This is where many stumble. Some step into superhero mode, ready to save her from her awful boss or toxic friend. Others choose to turn into a statue, nodding with a, "that's tough," and hoping the topic fades away. Both approaches miss the mark, because if you become her therapist, you lose her attraction. If you act indifferent, you lose her interest. So, how do you handle this without ruining it? The Stoics taught that what affects us isn't the events themselves, but how we perceive them. The key lies in your reaction. Today, you'll learn how to respond without losing your masculine power, moving away from being her emotional tissue to becoming the man she admires and desires. Before we dive in, if you find this content valuable, subscribe and turn on notifications. Remember, strong men learn, weak men complain. 1. When she talks about her problems, it's not random. Friend, if a woman shares her struggles with you, it's not because you're an exceptional listener or because you're special. It's an evaluation, even if she's not fully aware of it or thinking, "Let's see if this guy measures up." Her instinct acts as a natural filter. This is where many men falter, splitting into two types. The free therapist, who bombards her with solutions, "You should do this." Or the stonewall, who barely reacts, thinking listening is enough. If you're the therapist, she'll turn you into her crying shoulder, not her man. If you're the wall, she'll lose interest due to emotional disconnection. So, what to do? The Stoics viewed calmness as a superpower. Here's your master move. Stay serene without being cold. When she brings up her problems, instead of solving them or ignoring them, say something like, "That sounds tough, but I know you'll handle it. You've got this." This achieves two things. It shows you're listening without taking on her drama and returns the responsibility to her. This is priceless, because women seek a man who listens without drowning in their chaos. They want stability, not someone who crumbles with them. So, the next time she shares her concerns, remember, it's not just a casual chat, it's a test. Your response will determine if you read the man she respects or the one she uses as an emotional dump. 2. The mistake that turns you into her friend, not her partner. If a woman shares her problems with you and then pursues someone else, it's not bad luck. You fell into a trap without realizing it. Many believe that if she opens up emotionally, it's a sign of trust and therefore positive. And yes, it is to an extent. But there's a critical detail. Trust isn't the same as attraction. The harsh reality is that if you're always there to hear her complaints, but she ignores you when she's happy, she's relegated you to the role of emotional support. In other words, she's turned you into her friend with no chance of being more. This is where many fail. They feel special because she trusts them, but then they see her flirting with someone who barely pays attention. It's not about becoming cold and indifferent, but understanding that a woman doesn't expose herself. The same way with men who attract her as with those she sees as support. The Stoics advised, if you want to improve, distance yourself from what drags you down. This applies perfectly here. If she only seeks you out in her bad moments and forgets you when she's fine, it's time to change the game. The next time she comes with her problems, instead of just listening silently, say something like, "You always tell me about these situations, but what are you actually doing to solve them?" That simple phrase shifts the dynamic. You stop being her emotional dump and encourage her to take responsibility. It shows you have standards, that you're not there to absorb her stress for free. And here's the magic. When you make it clear you're not her unpaid therapist, she starts to see you differently. Men who don't sell themselves cheap, who aren't available for every crisis, are the ones who earn respect and attraction. So ask yourself, are you the guy she seeks to vent when she's bored, or the man she feels compelled to impress? 3. The hidden test few men pass. Have you ever wondered why some women repeat their problems without seeking solutions? It's not a coincidence. It's a test. Imagine you're a boxer in the ring. No matter how hard you punch, the first thing your trainer evaluates is whether you can take a hit without wobbling. That's exactly what a woman does when she shares her problems with you. She's less concerned with your answer and more with how you react. And this is where many fail without realizing it. If you get upset, worry too much, or try to save her, she gets a clear message. You're emotionally weak. If you act like it doesn't matter and respond with empty phrases like, well, that's life, she'll think you lack depth, the Stoic said. You can't control what happens, but you can control how you respond. The key is to balance empathy with firmness. The next time she talks about her problems, look at her and say, that sounds complicated. But tell me, what do you plan to do about it? That phrase accomplishes 3 things. 1. It makes her feel heard. 2. It returns the responsibility to her. 3. It shows you're not dragged into her chaos. If you apply this, you'll notice something interesting. Some will push further, testing your limits to see if you lose control. But a real man stays calm. The moment she feels she can manipulate you emotionally, she'll start losing respect for you. So remember, when a woman lays out her complaints, not looking for solutions, she's looking for signs of strength or weakness. Your response will define whether you re a man with self-mastery or just another one she can control at will. 4. The danger of reacting like a child. Why do some men lose a woman's interest right after showing they care about her? Because instead of projecting security, they react like a child who's had their toy taken away. Imagine a captain in the middle of a storm. If he starts shouting and panicking, the crew loses trust. If he crosses his arms and waits for it to pass on its own, he stops being a leader. The same happens when a woman shares her problems with you. If you react with too much emotion, you show you can't handle the pressure. If you act like you don't care, you make her feel ignored. The Stoics taught that a strong man remains calm in the storm. And in this case, the storm isn't the problem itself, but your emotional reaction. The key isn't to solve her life or ignore her, but to stay steady while she vents. For example, if she says she had a horrible day and her boss is unbearable, the weak man jumps into savior mode. Want me to talk to HR? The indifferent man just mumbles, tough luck, while checking his phone. The man who knows the game responds, yeah, sounds like a rough day, but I'm sure you'll handle it as always. This simple phrase changes the rules. You give validation without sinking into her drama. You don't try to fix her life or fall into the trap of absorbing her stress. And here's the interesting part. By doing this, some women will test you more, as if to check if her emotional load affects you. This is where many fail, getting desperate or angry. But the man who truly masters this keeps his stance and energy steady, because attraction doesn't depend on what you say, but on how you handle the situation. 5. Avoid letting her drama consume you. Why do some men end up exhausted after talking to a woman? Because, without realizing it, they let themselves be dragged into her drama, like a tourist falling for persistent vendors. Imagine walking through a market. You stop to haggle with everyone, you lose control. If you keep moving calmly, you maintain command of the situation. Same applies when a woman floods you with her problems. If you dive in too deep, you become her free therapist. If you disconnect completely, she feels you don't care. The Stoic said, it's not the wind, but how you adjust the sails that defines your fate. Here, adjusting the sails means managing the conversation without getting lost in it. The next time she tells you her problems, shift the direction. She says, I'm tired, my friend betrayed me, my boss is a jerk, everything's a mess. The typical responses are, the weak man, it's awful, I don't know how you bear it, soaking up her negativity. The cold man, tough break, showing indifference. The man who gets the game, so what do you plan to do about it? At that moment, the dynamic shifts. You stop being the passive receiver of her complaints and invite her to take responsibility. This prevents her drama from consuming you, keeps your power intact, shows you're not an emotional refuge, but a man who inspires respect. 6. The difference between an alpha man and a submissive one. Why do some men always end up as the safe option, while others attract all the passion and interest? Because some impose their presence, while others merely occupy it. Imagine a fast food joint versus a luxury restaurant. The first, you go in, eat, and leave without much thought. The second, you savor every detail, even preparing for the experience. When a woman shares her problems with you, she's not just talking, she's observing your reaction. If you're always available, understanding, and accessible, you become emotional fast food. The submissive man says, don't worry, everything will be fine. I'm here for whatever you need. The alpha man responds, I get it, but you know how to handle this. What's your plan? One is predictable and dispensable, the other a challenge. The Stoics taught, What doesn't challenge doesn't transform, and the same applies to attraction. The mistake many men make is thinking constant availability is the best strategy. They strive to be the nice guy, the listener, the ever-present one. But the truth is that endless availability kills mystery and desire. Think of the men who truly impact women. They're not the ones anxiously awaiting her message, but those who live their lives have priorities and project security without needing approval. When a woman sees you don't bend easily, she starts viewing you differently as someone irreplaceable. So the next time she comes with her complaints, set a subtle boundary. It's not about being cold, but showing your time and energy are worth something. Ask yourself, are you the luxury restaurant or the fast food? Because how she perceives you will determine if she stays or just uses you while waiting for something better. 7. How to make her see you as a high-value man. Why do some women become obsessed with certain men while others fade into oblivion? It's not just about looks, money, or charisma. It's how those men assert their worth. Imagine two watches, one plastic you can buy anywhere and a limited edition Rolex. Which would you pay more attention to? Exactly, value isn't just in the object, but in how it's perceived. High-value men don't give away their attention or validation. They don't chase affection, they attract it. When a woman tests you with dramas or complaints, the common mistake is the insecure man. He rushes to console, giving energy without reciprocity. The valuable man listens, shifts the responsibility back to her. So what do you think you'll do to change this? The Stoics practiced self-mastery. They didn't let others' emotions control them, but they didn't ignore them either. They balanced empathy with boundaries. If she insists on playing the victim, a real man doesn't join the chaos or avoid it. He stays calm and redirects the conversation. I see it's tough, but I know you're capable of overcoming it. Here's the secret. Women don't fall for men who save them, but for those who inspire them to be better. If you become her crying tissue, you'll lose her attraction. If you show emotional strength without coldness, she'll start seeing you as exceptional. So work on your presence, not your availability. Be the Rolex, not the plastic watch. Because in the end, the respect she has for you will determine if she desires you or merely tolerates you. The truth about masculine value and respect: women don't value men who give themselves without conditions. Every time you take on the role of emotional therapist without expecting reciprocity, you lose worth in her eyes. The man without value says, "I'm here whenever you need me." The high-value man responds, "If you need to talk, let me know when you're free. I'm busy now." One becomes like a discounted product, so the other is seen as exclusive. The Stoics taught, a man is defined by what he's willing to tolerate. If you accept being used as emotional support without reciprocity, she'll see you as an accessory, not a real option. This is the common mistake. Many believe their constant availability will be rewarded, but it only confirms they're not a challenge. The irony is that attraction might have existed initially, but your excessive accessibility destroys it. Its desire doesn't follow logic, it follows emotions. The solution isn't to wait to be chosen, but to position yourself as the one who chooses. When a woman shares her problems with you, 1. Listen, but don't become her lifeline. 2. Respond with serenity, keeping your energy firm. 3. Make her feel your attention is valuable, not free. Women don't fall for the always available man, but for the one who makes every interaction worthwhile. Stoic conclusion. It all boils down to one principle. Your reaction shapes how you're perceived. If you become her therapist, you lose attraction. If you act indifferent, you lose connection. Yes. If you maintain calm, confidence, and boundaries, she'll see you as a valuable man. These tests aren't out of cruelty, but an unconscious search for stability. If you fall into her emotional drama, you lose. If you demonstrate mastery, you gain respect and attraction. Have you ever felt emotionally used while she chased someone else? If this message resonated with you, share your experience. Here we talk about building authentic masculine presence without games or manipulation. To dive deeper into projecting a masculinity women can't ignore, explore our other content. Hold your ground, protect your value, and remember, a stoic man doesn't sell himself at a bargain price.